Hey everybody, I'm Zach here with GallantFew. Today I am excited to have Jay Erwin with me on this week's Leader Chat. Jay and I've met him 2 years ago, 3 years ago, something like that, maybe even a little longer. He's actually done some great things. I know one thing was you flew in, what was it, Thunderbirds or?
Yeah, I flew for the Thunderbirds for like a hometown heroes type thing.
Yeah, that was real awesome.
Pretty awesome.
So Jay, I already talked about you for a second, but go ahead and tell us about yourself, your background, and whatnot, and we'll go into our conversation.
Sure. So my name's Jay Erwin. I'm a veteran from the Army. I served from 2004 to 2008. I served in 2nd Ranger Battalion, and I also served in the 82nd Airborne Division. 2 combat tours to Iraq, where I was injured in September 1st, 2006. So
Okay.
I was medically retired around 2008 and then made a transition back to my home state of Kansas. So.
And is that how you got involved with GallantFew, was the fact that you were a Ranger?
Yeah, I think a little bit of that. And also Carl at the time was living in Wichita. That's where Carl is from, which is where I'm from. So I think he saw my name in the news or something as coming home, and he reached out to me and I reached out to him, and we connected through a mutual friend, and he actually received a few services through Carl and GallantFew to kind of reintegrate back into, the society part that veterans face, and totally helped me. I mean, I couldn't sit here and say that things would be different without GallantFew, because it definitely helped me. But the whole point of it, I think, is that I used it, got what I needed out of it, and then paid it forward. And now I help veterans kind of in their own situations. So yeah, that's kind of neat.
That's awesome. Yeah, no, paying it forward is a big thing, especially with the GallantFew community and whatnot. That's awesome. So again, let's move ahead. So this year we got a Patriot Challenge coming up.
That's right.
Real quick, before we get into that, if you're okay with that, I would like to talk to you a little bit more about your transition.
Sure.
I know, because that's one of the biggest key components of GallantFew is military transition into the civilian community. So talk to people about your transition, how it was, because I guarantee you that there's going to be somebody watching and listening to this at some point in time that's going to be experiencing similar things, if not the exact same thing that you went through. So tell us a little about your transition now.
Sure. So when I left active duty, just like every, soldier, airman, Marine, naval guy, anybody leaves, they're without their team. They don't have their team leader. Their command isn't there. That structure's gone. So when I left, I went from kicking indoors to sleeping in my mom's basement. So my purpose was gone. And so I struggled with isolation. I struggle with, just what was my purpose? Well, why was I, on the earth, basically? And so some of that help came from Carl, and understanding that, hey, just because you're left out of the military doesn't mean that you don't have a mission anymore. And so it kind of put me right back on that azimuth, as GallantFew talks about. It helped a ton. But the biggest thing for me, I think, is, there's always better days ahead. So if you are struggling, just, muddle through it, because that's, if anything, that's all what we know how to do. Just drink water, do the right thing, keep going, change your socks,
and all that stuff.
Oh yeah, all of it, and things will get better. And also just don't be afraid to reach out to somebody that may know a similar situation. You can reach out to me if you needed to.
That's great. Were you now? I know that your wife is also a big component of GallantFew as well, especially going leading with Patriot Challenge. But were y'all married when y'all were when you were getting out of the military? So
no. When I left the military, I was single. Went through multiple relationships, kind of stalled. They're all, pretty terrible. A lot of my own issues, that I wasn't recognizing. And so that caused a lot of friction. And my mom actually set me up with Courtney, my wife now, because she used to work with her at one of the places that, Courtney worked back when we met. So that, meeting her and the things that she's it's always good to have somebody that, is there every day, is like, hey, step one, step two. And so that's sort of Courtney's role in my life. And she's pushed me, she pushed me to get a bachelor's degree, and now I'm getting an executive MBA degree right now at the University of Missouri. So, just the she completely just keeps pushing me, and I need that. I think every veteran needs that. And without, somebody in your corner that is in your ear saying, hey, don't quit, keep going, that those people are valuable.
Definitely. I concur to the fullest extent, because Carl
Sure.
does that. Carl and Bryce, they, hey, Zach, do this, do it, go,
Mm-hmm.
go, come on, do it. I'm like, all right.
You know the drill, right? Roger that, sir.
Yeah. So they definitely be on track. But yeah, and what I asked that was, why the question was, because a lot of times I know veterans, especially those who, I don't want to say necessarily experience combat, but those who have some form of post-traumatic stress, they rely heavily on a significant other. And a lot of times, I know, especially I did as well, and it didn't really work out. And so when that happened for me, it just multiplied things to, exponentially, basically. So that's why I asked that, and the reason being, again, because there's going to be somebody watching this, and I feel like that's a good key point for them to be listening to and observing, and hopefully put into action with them.
Sure. No, and I totally agree with you. And I would like to make a real quick point that some people aren't cut out to help a veteran in the right ways. Yeah. Sometimes you got to, as a veteran, you have to recognize, hey, this person is pushing me down and not forward. And so you have to take the ability, you have to find that, you have to have the ability to find that issue and say, you know what, this may not work out for us. And that's what I think I experienced in a few relationships prior to Courtney. And then Courtney took on a role of like, hey, this guy, he has a lot of potential. He's a normal guy, maybe a little wild, So she took what she saw and helped shape who I am and pushed me. That's kind of my whole premise.
That's awesome. Awesome. That's really good to hear. All right. So we've already talked a little bit about your transition, your experiences in the military, and your transition out again. So let's go forward. What's your involvement with Patriot Challenge coming up? Which, those again who don't know what Patriot Challenge is, it's GallantFew's annual fundraiser that is replacing and improving and making it a lot better Run Ranger Run. So we went from Run Ranger Run to Patriot Challenge. So Jay, what's your involvement with Patriot Challenge?
Sure. So basically, I'm on the kind of the development team. I think development is a pretty word for sales focused, and I think a lot of what I like to do is in the Kansas City metro area is I advocate for GallantFew, their services, and basically try to help people get on board with Patriot Challenge, raising funds. I've met with a few companies that help, raise money and participate in Run Ranger Run and now Patriot Challenge. And so one of those companies is KC Cattle Company out of Weston, Missouri, and he's an ex-Army Ranger, Patrick Montgomery, great dude. We got connected just randomly through Facebook Messenger, did the sniff test and was kind of on like that. So since then he's contributed. They raise awareness, they raise miles, and then what he does with KC Cattle Company just kind of compounds with what GallantFew stands for. So it's a really nice addition. So that's sort of my main kind of objective, I'd say, within Patriot Challenge. But outside of that, I really enjoy meeting with veterans and just getting to know the people in my area.
Definitely. Yeah, I know you mentioned earlier at the beginning of this conversation that that you live in the Kansas, Wichita area right now. And it's funny, I don't know why, I never really thought about that. We've taken GallantFew, when I say we, GallantFew has taken veterans on, probably 4 or 5 retreats. I want to say in that area, basically in
Great Bend.
Yeah. Hunting trips and whatnot, and I think that was really great. I totally
with Chet Sears and Matt Amos.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you know Matt?
Yeah, I know Matt. I did a function with Matt I'd say back in like 2013 or 14.
He was my squad leaders in the Marine Corps.
He was?
Different platoon, but yeah.
Wow, that's pretty crazy.
He got hit. That was our deployment to Afghanistan. So
Wow.
for those watching right now, real quick,
Yeah.
before we continue that part, Jay, that's the veteran community right now. I live in Dallas, Fort Worth, Texas. Jay's up in Wichita, but all of a sudden we have a mutual contact. That Jay didn't even know. I saw it on your Facebook a while ago, but I was like, how Matt? Yeah, it's interesting.
Matt's a good guy.
Yeah, he's definitely something. Actually, I shout out to Matt. He actually was probably the first person that got me on my pipeline with GallantFew. I know I struggled a lot, and then in 2016 or 2014, I'm sorry, I was posting a bunch of dramatic stuff on Facebook. He messaged me real calm, hey, real cool, hey, I haven't talked to you in a while. Reach out to me. I'm all right. And again, this guy, Matt, he is, for those who don't know him, he is a Marine deployed to Iraq and Afghanistan. Afghanistan was with me and my deployment with 1-5 Alpha Company. And then all of a sudden, he got hit by an IED. He's now a double amputee, but all of a sudden, he's like living this fantastic life. He's a company owner. He's doing a bunch of things. So it's really awesome to see him. But anyways, he's one who's like, hey, he reached out to me. He's like, hey, I haven't talked in a while. Here's my number. Call me. Called him, and then it was like very, very, very short. What's it called? Like we just basically shooting the shit. For like
BSing, right?
Yeah, and all of a sudden he just proceeds to just rip into me and starts chewing me out. And he's like, you don't even need to post that stuff. And he's like, you need to come up here with me. Came up there, and all of a sudden I met. I just started my GallantFew connections and pipeline at that point. So
that's awesome.
He's doing some great things as well. But,
funny how that works.
Yeah, right. And
weird.
Real surreal, really surreal. But he does some great things. All right, let's go forward, man. Okay. So I know, again, you mentioned you received some services from GallantFew, and Carl mentioned you talked about. But then, why did you want to pay it forward, especially using GallantFew as a platform? Why did you want to pay it forward to potentially help other veterans as well?
Well, I mean, I think noticing where I went or where I was when I left, to the personal growth that happened from the time that I met Carl and the GallantFew community to now, to where I'm at, to where I'm going. Like I feel like every veteran deserves that chance and that possibility. And really all it takes is you to reach out, or you to sign up on the website and take the azimuth check, and they'll pull you in. But that's the importance of where you start and where you end that growth period. I think every veteran deserves. And so if you're not, paying it forward, then you're not giving another example or giving another veteran the chance for that same growth period.
Definitely. So would you think that it's maybe safe to say that it's just continued service from the military, regardless of branch, but it serves now not so much for the country per se, but for fellow veterans left and right.
For sure. Yeah. Safe way to say that.
I know, what was it? There was something last year at Vet Expo. We had a gentleman named Simon Sinek come out, and that was a pretty cool experience. I think, again, he did something happened with you and him there or something, like you talked or something, I believe. I can't remember off the top of my head.
I talked to him briefly, just personally. And, he's all about the why. Yeah. And it's cool because, before I understood what he was about, I found my why through GallantFew. And before I found my why, meeting Simon, he asked me, well, Jay, while we were sitting around this round table, like nonchalantly hanging out with Simon Sinek, and he's like, Jay, what's your why? And I basically, it was very, you could tell he wanted like a one sentence thing. He didn't want this huge story. And I said, well, once I figured out that it wasn't about me and it was about others, my life got better. And he just, he was like, wow, you understand your why. So it was a very neat conversation. But to carry that forward, though, like with his books and sort of some of his stuff that he preaches and talks about through his, his talks and whatnot, that it just kind of aligns with his approach. And I think that kind of aligns with GallantFew's approach, which
definitely. Yeah, I agree with you. I know, I'll tell people, I try to share my stories as much as possible. And
sure.
I mean, it's all over social media. Recently, I'm not going to it sounds like I'm shooting my horn. But anyways,
No, you're good.
not what I'm trying to do at all. But I think that I definitely agree with you because coming out of all the woodwork and things that I experienced and went through from the time in military to my transition out, I was definitely lost in sauce, and that's what GallantFew did to me. GallantFew reinstated my purpose in life, and I found out basically it's to serve.
Yeah.
And I absolutely love it, and it's just so simple. Like, yeah, you go through this concoction of ups and downs, and lefts and rights, and you're going crazy. And then all of a sudden, for me to like find out like my purpose was just to serve, keep doing it. So that's definitely one thing I always mention to GallantFew, either supporters or just Patriots overall. Sure. But so let's go forward again. So what are you hoping to? Let me see. Trying to make it sound too political.
No, you're good.
Get out of Patriot Challenge. How about that? What do you think?
What am I hoping to get out of it?
Yeah, as far as are you looking to spread more? I don't want to say awareness, but are you looking to spread more of the seed of GallantFew in the Wichita area, or are you trying to accomplish a different objective with that? What do you think?
Well, I'd say I'm in the Kansas City area, so I just think it being the first year, I think just raising more awareness, getting more people involved, increases our chances at helping more veterans, which is our purpose. And so my ability to reach out to businesses or just single people that may be lost or just need a connection, or they just may want to be good patriots and good stewards and help. That's kind of my mission at this point. With all that's going on, kids, school, it's difficult to fit some of that stuff in. But the best part about it is that when you do find time, you find value in helping people. So that's kind of the nice part of being a patriot.
I definitely agree with that. And then now I don't again, we don't want to dive too far into your personal life, but now that Courtney, your wife, is a part of Patriot Challenge, how does like, I don't want to say an influence, but how does that work between you two and her, or you and her?
I think, honestly, she is getting exposed to sort of a life that I lived prior to the service, or not prior to service, but while I was in the service. So getting to talk to people like you, Carl, Bryce, all the, Tony, and sort of the way that they talk, how they interact, their directions. I think some of that has actually helped her understand who I am. And that not just only that, hey, I'm this veteran, but there's a whole group of us that I don't think she's ever really been exposed to, that it's kind of given her a realization of, wow, there's a lot more people like Jay out there. And so it's given her some type of kind of connection as well. But as far as Patriot Challenge, I would say she right now is more motivated than me. I don't really want to say this on a live chat, but I think she's very motivated, and I know she loves the mission, and she loves GallantFew, and that she's totally dedicated. Courtney is the type of person that if she's going to do something, she's both feet in, and that's kind of why we're together, because I'm the same way. But it's definitely, it's neat to kind of learn some of the insights through her, whereas I think I showed her some of the ropes prior to that. And now that she's kind of in some of these meetings, she's given me the heads up. So that's changed. But it's kind of neat though, because I'm proud that she's part of it.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's really cool to hear. I know there's been some people in my life as well that how you mentioned, I don't know how much you might have conveyed, what information you conveyed to her or to your other family members or friends about your time in service, but a lot of the times a lot of the experiences that you have and events that occurred while you're in service, the only people that are really able to understand or relate are people who experience the same things or very similar to that. So I think that's awesome that you were able to shine a light on that. But that's what's great personally, because that it just expands the network that we have, and it educates people and whatnot. So it's really great to have y'all experience that together and whatnot.
It's pretty cool.
Going forward, let me ask you a question off the top of my head right now about what's something that you've done for a veteran relatively recently, maybe within the last like 5 or 6 months.
Relatively. I have a veteran friend that is, we were high school classmates. He's a couple years younger than me. And he texted me, I don't want to go into too many details, but he texted me about how to deal with a problem at work where his boss would come up behind him and scare him. He has PTSD from Afghanistan. Probably not the right way to approach a person from that has PTSD, and he would scare him, and it would scare him. And this guy is not small, and he's known to be a little bit of a hothead. And we talked very, very, calmly, collectively about just telling him, for one, that doesn't make me feel comfortable. For two, this is what I have. I have PTS, and this is what could help. It could cause me an issue, and it does. And to please stop. And then, in that moment, I think he was really frustrated and probably wanted to fight him. But I think I helped him, kind of. Yeah. I mean, it's those types of things. You don't have to build a new house for a veteran or
Right.
give them a new car or whatever, give them $1,000. Sometimes you can just answer the phone and give good sound advice, and that goes a long ways.
No, I definitely agree. We have a veteran that is, he climbs with us, and he is very, I don't want to say it's very similar, but the concept of helping him out is pretty similar in regards to he felt he was alone. He felt like no one really understood what was going on in his mind. And all of a sudden he bumped into basically Carl and I at the climbing gym over here in Grapevine, Texas, I go to. And all of a sudden we found out he was a veteran, started speaking with him, and all of a sudden now he's living he's overall healthier.
Good.
Yeah, which is similar. And the great thing was there's essentially a problem, but because I think maybe there's a contribution from you to GallantFew in the teachings that you have from Carl, the almighty one. But you're gonna yell at me for that. Watch.
Yeah, that's funny.
I think the fact that now that we have the knowledge on how to help veterans, I think that we're all doing our part to take care of our own, which is huge because that wasn't around, right after Vietnam and even after Desert Storm, things were kind of, I don't want to say I don't think it was the veteran community was as strong as it is with the global war on terrorism. Veteran community. So
absolutely.
Now, let me ask you this. Do you, is there anything that you do for your Rangers that you served with now?
I talked to them. There's a couple of guys that, they just, we were in a group text. A lot of them, they just like to reach out here and there just to say hi. I try to do that. Simple calls, simple texts. I think the other night I called a couple guys I hadn't talked to for 5 or 6 years just to kind of refire that flame. And there is a guy that I recently talked to that's in a pretty high speed unit that went from Ranger Regiment and kind of a step up. And he's going through a pretty big mess with a divorce and just custody battles and in and out of, missions, and kids are failing at school. And I got on the phone with him. He was the first guy, actually went through basic, Airborne, Ranger and Doc, and battalion together. And then he progressed all the way through, all the way up to where he is now. And we hadn't talked for a while. He actually spent about an hour on the phone, and we just kind of hashed it out about what we've been up to, who's important, who's not, where does his goals lie now. And it's just, I don't know that I do anything specific, but I answer my phone and I'm available, and they know that. There are a few guys that I don't know directly, but they have reached out to me that have issues with alcohol. They know they have issues with alcohol, and it's affecting their daily, life. But those are some of the people that I think Nick Kumlatzos told me this. You can't help everybody.
Yeah.
You just certainly can. I mean, they'll get to a point in their life where they'll want that help. So you got to love them from a distance, and let them. And you might know this, Zach, and I kind of do too. You got to let them do their thing, and when they're done doing their thing and they're ready, they'll reach out.
Yeah. And that's definitely something that I really emphasize. Actually, you basically took the words right out of my mouth. One thing when we climb, it's a climbing t-shirt that me and
That's
Bryce.
right. I like it.
Thanks. One of the big things is, yeah, I totally agree with it. You got to kind of love them from a distance. But when we climb and they're like, hey, right before the climber starts going on the wall, if I'm the belayer, there's a couple of things that we'll say. The climber will say climbing or attempting, something of that nature. And the belayer goes, I got you, or yeah, go ahead, climb on, go ahead, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that I say is, I'm here for you. And so in case that veteran does fall from the route, if they're climbing, especially doing a lead route,
Sure.
I'm able to catch that veteran in with my devices that I have to stop them from a big fall.
Sure.
So that's something that occasionally I'll tell to another veteran, because exactly what you said, it's I tell them that, hey, I'm talking to a veteran and they're stuck on and fixated on one certain, like, no, it's going to do that. This is it. This is the only way. I'm like, okay. And I do think, ask a question like, well, how's that working for you?
Yeah, exactly.
And then they're like, oh, no.
Carl says that a lot.
Yeah.
How's that working out?
Yeah, exactly. Oh, sometimes I hate when he asks me that. Like, you know how it's working out. Don't play mind games with me. But so that I'll tell a veteran that too. The same thing when they're struggling with maybe alcohol, or it's some type of other addiction, or they're homeless, but they're just so fixated on having it one specific way. Same thing. Like, I agree with what you and what Nick said. You got to love them from a distance, and I'll say, well, hey, when you're ready, I'm here for you.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing when that veteran, when they're climbing, or even one of the other patriots that climbs with us.
Mm-hmm.
When they fall, I'm like, I'm here. I got you. You're not going to deck. You're not going to hit the ground or anything like that. So
right. And when it happens, you actually stop them physically while you're climbing, so they see, wow, he had me. And so it's similar to that, just being available for a veteran when they come out of an addiction, when they come out of whatever their issue they're faced, that they're fixated on, that we're there, but we can only be there when they're ready.
Exactly. Totally agree. That's you hit the nail right on the head. All right. So we're coming up close to 30 minutes.
Okay.
Now let's do this. Picture Jay getting out of the Army, Ranger Jay and Ranger Erwin. I don't know what the proper.
That's right. It doesn't matter.
Okay. You're leaving picture this. You're the things that you experienced in the military, and you're fixing to be discharged. Whether medical retirement or anything else. What do you say to younger Jay, or maybe a new military personnel or service personnel getting out of the military? What do you say?
What's your plan? If you're just now planning, you're too late. I mean, I never had any idea of what I wanted to do post-military. So when I was medically retired, that wasn't my choice. So I was even more frustrated. And I would say, if you're planning on leaving the military, you should plan years ahead. What do you want to do when you grow up should be going through your head 2 years before you ETS. And how are you going to find those, what steps do you need to take to make your goal happen? And how do you achieve them? And do you achieve them by yourself? I would say, I would think, find a network, find people that support you, find a mentor, make a plan, small goals, meet them, long-term goals, meet them, run ideas off of your buddies, don't disconnect, keep moving forward, and stay healthy and stay sound. I mean, that's all I would really say.
That's awesome. It's good. A lot of good info. I wish you would have told me that almost 10 years ago.
I wish I would have told myself the same thing, Zach.
Yeah, but that's good though, right? That's why we had that information, because how many thousands and thousands of veterans go through exactly what you just said, or damn it, like I wish I would have done X, Y, and Z
right
before I got out of the military. So I think, again, you definitely hit the nail right on the head. And actually, that's twice I've said that saying in this conversation. I don't think I've ever said it right in my life that way. I've always hit the head on the nail or nail.
It's okay, man.
It's recorded. So
you're a Marine. So
hey, whoa,
mistakes. Oh yeah.
Even Rangers need heroes too. That's why we're here.
Oh,
Anyway,
whoa. Okay, yeah. Let's stop there.
we'll say the non-recorded version, uncensored version.
That's right.
All right, Jay. Well, hey, I appreciate you hopping on this call with me again. Any
Always
last
a pleasure.
words that you like to impart on us?
No, it's just a pleasure being a part of Gallant Few and Patriot Challenge, and thanks for speaking with me today. And I hope someone finds value in what we're talking about. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to Gallant Few, Zach, or myself. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Jay. All right, well, everybody, that was Jay Erwin, who served with the Rangers in the second bat, 75th Regiment. Again, don't hesitate to reach out to any of us, social media or website. And if you are a Patriot, go to GallantFew.org, complete the ASMA check, sign up with us, watch for the newsletters, and don't forget Patriot Challenge in February 2021 coming up. And I don't have anything else to add, but be brave, be bold, be gallant. Thanks, everybody.
All right, Zach. See you guys.